Hi YouTube, it's Carrie, Lady VSG, here with my week 47 post-op update. Today is February 29th, 2016. Happy Leap Day. I had my VSG surgery April 6, 2015 in Tijuana, Mexico with Dr. Ariel Ortiz at the Obesity Control Center. I am 5'7". When I booked the surgery, I weighed 301.8 pounds. Day of surgery, I weighed in at 272, and today I weighed in at 174.5 pounds, so a loss of 4 pounds in the last week and a total loss of 127.3 pounds. So, I mean, obviously, I'm really excited about my huge loss this week. I feel that, so there are a couple of things that I want to talk to you guys about. I think this week, I definitely was much more mindful about what I was eating. I also came down with kind of a cold, and so I spent a lot of the week, when I'm not feeling under the weather, I actually typically don't really feel like eating, and so I think that was part of it. And I also drank tons and tons of tea, because just like warm drinks, I find them very soothing, and so I think I was obviously very well hydrated for the first time in probably a couple of weeks, and I wasn't eating around my sleeve, and I think those things just sort of synchronized beautifully and helped me sort of get rid of some of this excess weight that I've been packing back on. I did a little bit better getting my steps in this week, still have not gotten back to the gym. The biggest thing that changed for me this week was that I started treatment again for my depression and anxiety. I've noticed especially over the last month, it's just, I feel like I'm sort of backsliding, mentally and emotionally. My sleeping's been really off. Either on my days off, either I just don't want to get out of bed, or if I do manage to get out of bed, like I just sit on the couch. It's sort of like I can either sort of get myself over the depression enough to want to leave my house and go do something, but then I get so anxious about it that derails me, or vice versa. Like I can get over the anxiety and convince myself it's going to be okay, but then it's just like the depression is too much, and and so basically it had gotten to a point over the last month where I would leave the house only to go to work or to even go to my sister's house, which is kind of, her house is sort of like a little extension of my house. It doesn't really feel like I'm leaving to go, it's not like I'm going somewhere. It's weird anyway. So, so between that and just when I sleep, like with my Fitbit, it's telling me, I'm averaging like 4.5 hours of sleep at night, which is terrible. And it's not like I'm only in bed for 4 or 5 hours. Like I'm in bed for 8, 9, 10 hours. I'm just not sleeping. So definitely, like, the lack of sleep has an extremely negative influence on my life. And it just, the depression and anxiety is something that I have struggled with in the past, and I haven't needed medication. I've been able to sort of maintain, because it's hard to remind yourself, like, it's a chronic issue, and sometimes it's gonna have flare-ups, and I'm pleased with myself that I'm getting treatment and getting the help that I need much sooner this time around than the last time. But there's still a little part of me that feels like somehow I've failed, because I need to be on medication and stuff again, and so I just have to do a lot of like self-coaching and self-awareness that it's not a failure on my part. Like, this is just, it's a chronic issue that I have to deal with, and this is how I have to take care of myself right now, and I need to do what's best for me. So that's kind of like, that's sort of been my struggle this last week. I think just taking those initial steps and like getting started back into treatment and all those things, like, I do feel hopeful, which definitely helps with everything. It's like I'm not just ignoring the problem and hoping that it goes away. Like, I'm taking steps to address the problem, and hopefully, it's not like there's there's not ever going to be like a quick cure for it. It's probably going to be something that I deal with off and on the rest of my life. But I feel much more hopeful and at peace with it this time around, and that makes me happy. Like I think it'll be a much smoother transition this time. So yeah, so I mean that's really been the big focus of my life this week. I mentioned in the previous video that I had been looking for new jobs. I am doing my bachelor's degree online because a lot of the hospitals here in the area where I live have gone magnet status. So when they hire new nurses, the nurses are required to have their bachelor's degree, which I have an associate's RN. So I should be done with my bachelor's degree this summer. And I've gotten a couple of leads from hiring managers who were like, hey, you know, once you have your actual bachelor's degree, like resend me your resume, remind me that I told you to do this, blah, blah, blah. So between that and the new job that I had applied for, it's not going to work out. So I am going to stay at my current job. And last Monday, they got the call while I was at work, which was so awkward, but they got the call from the place that I applied to do reference checks. And so then, you know, my boss both of my bosses kind of panicked a little bit. And they, you know, I had to have like little meetings with them, and they wanted to know, they did like, 'cause, from their point of view, they had no idea that I was so unhappy, that things, you know, just like to them, it came as a complete shock that I was looking for, you know, a new job. And so I haven't given them my decision to stay yet. And I know that that's kind of terrible, but it's been, I don't know, it's been nice that they have been so concerned. You know, it makes you, because sometimes you feel like taken advantage of and whatnot, and it's nice to have these moments where they are going out of their way to make sure that I know that I am appreciated and that they want me to stay and all of this stuff, and it feels nice. So I'm kind of enjoying that, which I know is really selfish, but yeah. And then hopefully this summer, because, you know, I was applying for another nursing home, and that's kind of a lateral move, whereas once I get into the hospital, like that's obviously like a vertical promotion. And so, yeah, I think I think that's going to be my new plan. Plus it'll look a little bit better on my resume that I don't have this weird blip of changing jobs and then changing jobs again once I get into a hospital position. So, you know, from that point of view. And I honestly, I think part of it is like my term for school just ended and I started a new term. Last term was really stressful and I did not enjoy it. Plus obviously I was struggling with my depression and anxiety. And I think everything was just sort of the perfect storm of just feeling overwhelmed and not knowing what to do and feeling like I had to make all these drastic changes. And I'm feeling a lot more in control and at peace with how my life is sort of playing out right now, which I'm sure is also helping me not overeat and be more mindful of all those food choices and things like that. So like it feels like just in the last week, everything's really come together. Whereas a week ago, I felt like everything was falling apart. So it's strange, you know, like I definitely feel more hopeful and positive and like this is, yeah, I've got this, you know, I can rock this. I'm amazing. And last week I felt like nothing was working out. And so it's strange what a difference just a week makes. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just on a very personal note, I have a potential date coming up this week that I'm kind of excited about. We're still trying to work out between my work schedule and his work schedule. So it's not finalized yet. But this will be my first date since 2013. So I'm excited, but I'm also a little bit terrified because it's like, I haven't been on a date in 3 years. Like, what do I do with my hands? You know, like, I don't know. I'm kind of a nerd and I never really dated much anyway. So it still feels like very new territory, even though I'm in my mid-30s. So but I'm excited for it at the same time. So hopefully it goes well. Hopefully we can get our schedules to align. And yeah, I mean, if nothing else, at least I can now say, well, at least I've been on a date in 2016. So that'll be cool. So it's exciting. Lots of exciting things right now. So, all right. I'm going to cut this off and I will check in with you guys again next week. Hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you later. Bye.